Oh, hold on.
Because I'm the real host, by the way.
That's okay. I'm recording.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. This is Maryann, Revealing Light Tarot. Dr. Vicki Skerbo, how are you today? We've been warming up to this joint session together. We've both been looking forward to it. It's going to follow our usual format. We try and do this at least once a month, and we ask each other 3 questions. I have no knowledge of the 3 questions she's asking me, and likewise, she doesn't know what I'm going to ask her. So we're going to go through these 3 questions. They can be any question relating to all around the world, and current affairs, can be political, metaphysical, climate, environment, you name it, we'll ask it. At the end of the 3 questions, we're going to do something special for our Australian viewers. We're going to take a look at the Australian Federation chart. And as some of you may already know, we've got a lot going on around women. We're having our Me Too moment, just as the US had theirs. At the beginning of the ex-president's election, we are now having our moment. And unfortunately, a young staffer was allegedly raped in a minister's office, and that was allegedly covered up. We also have a historical rape allegation, which we're not going to against someone in government. We're not going to talk in too much detail about those actual things, because Australia has different laws around defamation and libel to the US and other places. Ours are very amongst the most draconian in the world. So we'll be being general, and we'd ask our viewers to be general in their comments as well, around these alleged rapes. However, we're going to look at the culture of women through the astrology chart of Australia.
Yes.
What's going on there. And it's very interesting. We've both seen the charts. So we've got our 3 questions, and then we'll move to our astrology. So stay with us. There'll be lots of tarot, lots of astrology, and lots of us doing our stuff. So Dr. Vicki, I'm going to ask you the first question.
Okay.
Now, okay. All right. You can answer it any way you like, clairvoyantly. You can tell us your opinion. You can use the cards whatever way you want to, your intuition. Now, it's one that I've been wondering today as things start to heat up. Did President Biden, I'm going to the US with my first question anyway, did President Biden do the right thing with his comment that Putin is a killer? Now, as you know, that sparked the Russian ambassador being withdrawn to the US, or the consultation ambassador being pulled out of the US. Putin is now posturing and wanting to debate Biden live. He said takes one to know one. I think before you get to answering this, I would just say that President Biden called Putin out, because I just quickly was seen by a medical doctor at the beginning of the ex-president's presidency, and relationship with Putin was being spoken about. She grew up in one of those Eastern Bloc countries. I don't want to be too specific, but her best friend, who was a journalist in that country, when Putin came to visit, Putin shot her in the head. It was his birthday, and he celebrated that shooting. So I've always known that story that came from someone who fled that country and emigrated here to Australia. I've always known he's a cold-blooded killer. Now, the question is, did President Biden do the right thing in making that comment so publicly as the President of the United States?
Okay. We have the first card to come up is balance. And it's called restoring cosmic order. So the answer to that question is yes. And I think when we talk about what he said about Putin is in balance to what the 45th president said. And even George Bush, little Bush, Georgie Porgy, sorry. He also had this thing with Putin. I looked into his eyes, and I don't know if you remember that back way when George W. was president. And there was sort of a softening of the relationship between Russia and the United States when Bush was in office. Then when Obama came in, he sort of got much harsher with Putin. And then of course the 45 comes in and is whatever. So I think it was said in order to bring a balance to the experience that we had with the last president and Putin. This is the challenge. The challenge is the wheel of fortune. So I feel like the challenge is, he's going to let the cards fall what may. I think that although I'm, well, my own personal opinion of Biden has nothing to do with this. So I think that he knows how to play a game. He's a consummate politician, so he knows how to play this game. At the root here, we have the teacher of discs. This one's called the passion play. The passion play. So it's a little bit of an act. It's a little bit of an act. It's like a little bit of good. I don't want to say good TV because it's not that. But this is what it's like, a passion play. It's like the world stage, and we're all players, and I think that's what's going on here. In the past, we have the Master of Cups. This is called abiding in love. So this might be the love relationship, maybe that that the last president had, right, with Putin. We have in the sky. We have the 4, which is called the Green Man. This is the Emperor card. So I feel like with the Emperor card up there, it's these 2 powerful men squaring off to a certain extent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have the Master of Wands as the, this is called the Temple of the Goddess, the Master of Wands. And it's interesting because look at doesn't that look like Russia?
It does.
Right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And this is a feminine card. It's funny because I was thinking about Putin and the guy that he just put back in jail.
Opposition leader Navalny.
Yeah. And then I thought, I felt like there was a woman coming up in Russia. I don't know if it's his wife or if it's another woman, but there's a woman who's going to be coming up in power in Russia. And so that's what and I'm getting chills as I'm saying that. So I feel like there is a woman that's going to step forward in some way. So to answer your question, yeah, he did the right thing, because it's the whole play. It's like things are trying to balance out. But then I feel like we have a womanly energy coming in to when you would do the cards for Russia, it was always the Empress, right? And like, that's a beautiful card. And the Russians are beautiful people. They have so much heart and soul, and they've suffered so terribly for so many centuries, decades and decades and decades of suffering, because, you have these men in charge, quite frankly.
Yeah, I read somewhere yesterday, Victoria, that regional mayors gathered in, I think it was in Moscow. There was something like 150 of them from all around Russia. And Putin arrested them. He, no warning, no reason, just went in there and arrested them. Now, why? Because he has to be the KGB strongman to head off opposition. And I think what Biden did was he put it out there. Putin can't have it both ways. He's not this international benign leader. He is a cold-blooded killer. And
a misogynist.
And this play that you're talking about, I think Biden knew exactly what he was doing when he said it.
He's a Scorpio. Of course he knows. He's, the 45th was out of his depth with Putin. But Biden has like all the Scorpio in his chart. He's not at it. He knows stuff. And, he's been in politics, 45 years, some crazy, since 1972. He knows secrets. He knows stuff. And he knows how to keep a secret.
So I think it's all in the timing, isn't it? I think that's what he knows, that it's the time to say this now.
Right.
And he has to address the threat, for goodness sake. Look what Putin's done to your country. Look how what he's done. He has to bring that threat out into the open. So I, for one, was cheering him on. A lot of people have regard for Vladimir Putin, but when that woman who'd been a girl in these countries and her best friend, who was a journalist, was shot, I just know him for who he is, who and what he is. Have you anything else to add on that one?
No, I think that's it. Underneath it all, and I shuffled them, but underneath it all, the card that came up was Drama Queen. There's a card called Drama Queen, and it's the seven of cups. I shuffled it up, but I can't now. I have to find it. Maybe I'll find it. Maybe I won't.
Maybe that's the live debate. Apparently, it's the first time a lot of people have seen Putin so flustered. So, he just doesn't debate people. That's not what he does.
He's. I think I watched a thing of when he got. I want to say coronated, because that's not really what happened. That's not the word. But he was like walking through the palace all by himself, and he was walking to his desk, and I'm like, it was like it was just show, it's just theater.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
Theater. Unfortunately, people get hurt, but it's theater.
Yeah, he's the richest person in the world. He didn't do that just by, or one of the richest. He didn't do that just by trading within his own country and ripping off Russia. He did that. He relies on the rest of the world for his own personal wealth. So let's see what happens from here on in. Biden might just have him in a lasso.
We'll see. We'll see, because there's definitely changes coming for Vlad.
And for Russia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay. Is it my turn?
It is.
Okay. So I am wondering about Andrew Cuomo. Yes.
You gave me the thorny one.
My paisan, Andy.
Yeah. Look. Okay, let's have a look. I saw he could hang on about a month ago or a few weeks ago. Let's see. What is the question? What is it that you want to know?
So what is this? I mean, certainly it's a real thing. I'm not denying the fact that these women have had an experience, but is this a hit job? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, the New York Times is clobbering him.
And why, though? Why do they want to get rid of Cuomo? Just like they're trying to get rid of Newsom in California.
I know.
What is it about those? That's two questions. Let's look at.
Okay, so
sorry, I don't want to confuse things.
And the threat is real for because they will control those blue states, those big blue states. Okay, so let's look at is this a hit job? First of all, I'll preface this like you did. No one's excusing his he needs to get into, he can't speak to women the way that he's been speaking to them, and there is an investigation ongoing. So we'll get to the bottom of it.
Right.
Letitia James will get to the bottom of it. I'll let her do that.
That's right.
But I am getting tired of the veracity at which they're just, every day it's like, they didn't even do that to Trump over the sexual assault and rape allegations, for goodness sake. So let's have a look. Is this a hit job? Is the who's behind this? Andrew Governor, how do you pronounce it?
Cuomo.
Cuomo as in Q. Cuomo. Okay, is this a hit job for Governor Cuomo? Is this a hit job? Or otherwise? Somebody's controlling this. I'm getting two hands on levers. This is a controlled attack. Somebody is controlling this. Okay. So we have the strength card. The Leo. What is Cuomo? Do you know? What's his stuff? The Sagittarian one. Yeah.
His sun is conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius.
Okay, all right. So there's the strength card here that's come out as the signifier. What's challenging that? The Queen of Swords. So this is the whole the feminine, the women challenging his strength. Now, I guess he comes from an era and the parts of New York where males like him, the cultural stuff. There's a lot of cultural stuff showing up here that is, women are saying that is inappropriate. The way you show your strength around us is inappropriate. And this also, at a metaphysical level, is part of this divine feminine rising, and also at the same time the divine masculine rising as well, that male role models, younger males, are looking for gentle strength, not this kind of brute, I don't know what it is, brute strength that
bully. It's the bully. It's the bullying, yeah.
So there's a challenge here that is appropriate. Now, the question is, he's apologized. Can he learn from it? Can he hold on? But the question was, is this a hit job? So again, to have a hit job, you've got to have a vulnerability.
Right.
So we've got in the foundation the Chariot card. So things moving very quickly and getting out of control. It's like throwing pieces of feed into the shark tank. That is the nature of politics. And I think there are probably allegations that people are coming forward with now that they may not have come forward with, an inappropriate word here or there in the workplace that they may not have come forward. This is getting out of control, is what this card is telling me. They may not have come forward with it. If he says, "Oh, you look nice today. I really like those jeans or pants you've got on, or that fit of the blouse is, really nice." Well, that then becomes an allegation. So there's some of that going on as well. Now, in the past, we've got healing. So there again, he is being challenged to do things in a different way. And karmically, he is an example. So there's all of that to be said. Yeah. In the sky, we have the 9 of Swords, which is the anxiety. So there is somebody, now we're getting into who might be controlling the levers. There is somebody who's extremely anxious, who's extremely worried. Now, who might that be? Let's just keep going. Yeah, we've got bombshells and surprises coming forward here. Which is always interesting. I'm just going to pull one more. The Emperor. Okay, so they are. This is designed one way or another to take away his power, to unseat him. What's at the base of the pack is the toxicity, the devil card, and the lovers and illusions. So all is not what it seems in this. They have gone to his vulnerability and they are exploiting it. And there are valid reasons why he needs to change. But these at the base of the pack, you know, the lovers is my card for Trump.
Yes.
We do have illusion and delusion, and we do have the devil card.
Those are three Trump cards. I mean,
they always were for me.
Yep.
So, and the Emperor card is him wanting to have power and revenge as well. I think there's a revenge aspect. I'm just going to quickly, I know we're only doing 4 or 5 cards. It's just this bombshell, this anxious, the Nine of Swords. What is the Nine of Swords? Show me that Nine of Swords. Battle weary. Yeah, that could be him at the, no, there we go. There we go. Okay, no, I'm afraid, as much and all as I don't, you know, that the ex-president is no longer in power. This has the Republicans. Somebody is controlling these levers. They've hit Cuomo where it hurts. They understand his vulnerability. This is kind of like a precision kind of operation. It's not taking away from the truth of it,
right?
But there is a political motivation aspect to this, as well as there is with Governor Newsom. I have to say that that's consistent with my past readings, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that was my feeling too. My feeling was he certainly, you know, he's from a different generation. He has to learn the new ways. You know, he's kind of a Goomba, you know, from Queens. So, you know, this is the way he does it. You know, he's like a New York guy, you know. That doesn't really fly anymore, but unfortunately, they can use that. And it seems like the Democrats shoot themselves in the foot with this stuff all the time because they have this, you know, they want to be on the moral high ground. And sometimes I think the Democrats just, they want to be on the moral high ground, but they're not fighting people who are moral. So it gets used against them, I think, in a way.
Well, they lose. I mean, Al Franken apologized. He did everything. He turned himself inside out, but his own comrades, his own party, that wasn't good enough. And you lost a good senator.
Yes.
At the time when a president was
yes
a serial.
Yes. That's all. You don't even have to say anything else. Yes. This is for entertainment purposes only.
It is. Okay. Now, my next question to you.
Ooh, okay. I'm ready.
What is the future of the European Union? Now, the UK, as you know, has pulled away. Some parts of the UK wanted to stay, but ultimately the UK has left the Union. There were murmurings at the time that other countries might want to go to, but the European Union is still intact, albeit without the UK. What do you see as the future of that European Union?
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to like get a feeling. I feel like it's staying, but let's see what the cards say. We have gifts as the first card here. This is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. This is an artist out of Seattle. She does these cards. So the first thing is that there's a lot, because it's a group of countries, there's a lot to offer. There's a lot of what one country's good at, another country might not be, but so there's a lot of gifts in the. So what's the challenge to that? Resilience. Resilience is the challenge. So can they move through this time, because they have the pandemic that you're dealing with, but they also have all the immigrants coming in. We have that here too in the United States with the stuff going on at the border, right? But the people that are coming into Europe are looking for a better life, and the reason that they're moving into Europe is because we've so terribly destabilized the Middle East and Africa, us and the first world countries. We have at the root, and we have the path. This is the path of peace. You see, we have the peace flags here, and that's at the root of it. So that's good. I think that's good. We have evolution in the past. The European Union was actually an evolution. It was sort of like the United States of Europe in a way, like that idea of people coming together for a common cause, right? So I think, and the European Union occurred after we had a very powerful eclipse in 1999 in Leo. It was called the eclipse of the century. So there was definitely going to be a shift there. We have eruption in the sky. So it looks like there's going to be this could actually be an eruption.
That's what I was just thinking.
I almost feel like this is Vesuvius or Etna, or, like there's an actual eruption, although that could also be emotional stuff, but there is stuff coming up and coming out. And then we have deluge. Holy crap. So this is eruption and deluge. So we were just talking about this right before we got on with the earth change stuff that's happening.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh goodness. Let's keep going. Balance is the next card. Yep. So there's some balance there. Anguish. This is the domestic situation. Looks like there's some suffering that's coming up. The hopes and fears is the multiverse. This is hold on, let me see if you can see it. There it is. It's called the multiverse. So hopes and fears that there's like almost like a higher purpose or a higher form here, or perhaps help from higher sources, like spirit sources. And then we have influence as the outcome card. So I feel as though the root is one of sharing and fairness. And I feel like they're going to go through some earth stuff like earthquakes and deluge. But I think that's true almost of every, but I almost feel like it's going to keep them, they're going to have to help each other. Do you know what I'm saying? So in a way, they're going to stay together because out of necessity to make it through this period. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. And also you've got the Paris Accord. They are the center of all of that climate, emergency management, climate change, and particularly the Scandinavian countries.
Right. Exactly.
To them, climate change is like as real and as accepted as, I don't know, whatever it is to us. Tourism to Australia, we all believe in tourism, a lucky country. Well, for them, they've grown up with such an acute awareness of climate change because they've got beautiful environment, beautiful country in Scandinavia.
And the Norse, the Nordics, like the Vikings and those, they had a relationship. Nature for them is life and death. I mean, it's, so they have a different kind of, I think, appreciation for the power of nature. because they kind of live on the edge up there when it comes to nature. It's very cold. You know, it's very low. The seas are rising. So it's life and death to a certain extent for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is going to be a test for the union, but I feel like they're going to move through it and then be influential in the world. I don't know how influential, because I have a feeling that China has a big future when it comes to who's going to be the most influential. But we'll see. We'll see.
That was an excellent reading. A really, really good reading. Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay. Now you have one for me.
Well, I was going to ask you about, if there was a theme going on in my readings, I was going to ask you about Al Franken, because he has a podcast.
Yeah.
And his voice is now being heard. And they said, and I just heard that the Democrats wish they hadn't done what they did to him, because they didn't even give him a chance to prove himself. So how about Al Franken's future?
Okay, all right. And you know, he could even make it. Where's he from? New York, is he?
Originally, I think he's from out east. I'm not exactly sure. I can Google it if you want me to.
Yeah, no,
he was in Minnesota.
Okay, so that's right. He was a senator from Minnesota.
Right.
Huh. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at, because I just feel he's going to make another political run, not necessarily as senator, maybe something else. All right. Let's have a look. Al Franken. Al Franken. Okay. What's his future? I know his podcast is very good. He's got a lot to say. And he's going to keep saying it. Okay, so I'm getting the image of the bat here, sort of like Batman, like that. You remember in the Batman movies, you had the bat coming toward him when he had given completely up hope, you know, his hope had gone, and he reinvented himself and came back as a Superman, or like as a, you know,
superhero.
Yeah, let's take a look. So the signifier card is endings, and that, of course, is, you know, his career did end in a way. That's what we were talking about. The challenge is justice. Okay, now they're two signifier cards. Now the death card is moving through a transformation, something that happens to you. It's that almost, something ends and something begins. There's a justice aspect here, and I don't feel like he has to be brought to justice. I feel like he wants justice. That in the things that he is doing, he's actually transforming. He's able to transform that ending that he had in a way that balances the scales. Let's see what's at the foundation. Yeah, celebration, the 3 of Cups. Circles of support. You know what he's doing? He's mustering support. He's mustering supporters. Why is he doing that? Maybe that's what he's always done in his life. And there's a karmic justice aspect to this, that it wasn't the end of that career at all. He's making a comeback. That's what these cards are telling me. He's gathering supporters to himself. In the past, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is new start. So he has made a new start for himself. It's a comeback. Al Franken's having a comeback. Now, the Knight of Swords, he's got something to say. This is a communication card. He's going to be quite controversial, I think, when he does. At some point, he's going to step out, and he's on a new quest, and he's going to wield that sword because he's a master in a way. He's a very good communicator. That's what he does. But it's also biting truth with him.
Yes, satire and
and that's what he's got to bring forward. And we've got the immediate future, which is what I thought government. He's coming back in some way to join government, and he's going to play a particular role. He's learnt from this that he's not going to stop with his truth and how he says it. It's almost like he was taken by surprise. Sometimes when this comes up, it's like a smack in the face. You don't know, you can't see it coming. And there was something very much for him to learn. But he's on the comeback trail. One more, please. Yeah, he was knocked around very much by this. This again goes with that. He's not, he was very let down by his own party.
Yes.
And when he does come back, I haven't closely listened to all of his podcasts, but I'd say he's going to have something to say about even his own, the way things are done in government. And he's got this new start here. He's got a plan. He's got a new start. So we've got at the base of the pack, which is the underlying energies, we have the High Priestess here, the Hanged Man, and the Ten of Swords. Very consistent, utter downfall. This is the Divine Feminine, and they literally put him in this position, in these positions. So he has been deeply hurt and wounded. He has something to say. He's going to take another position in government. Now, that was my original feeling when I started pulling these cards. What it is, it may not be in the Senate, might be something else, even at the state level, but he's coming back through, and he won't be put in the same position again. He wants justice, right, in order to completely transform from this utter downfall, complete and utter downfall. Imagine what that feels like. He was perceived as a sexual offender, sexual assault, and that again, was so unfair to compare him to what the ex-president had done.
And there's DNA evidence for the ex-president. Will we ever see it is another question. But yeah, I feel like his heart was really broken. And it was interesting because he was a comedian for so many years, and while he was in the Senate, he wasn't funny. Like, he was good, but he wouldn't go there, and he just started to get funny again, and then that happened and they cut him off. So now he's sort of coming back in, and it's that satirical stuff. It's like, it's irony. It's like people, and I think a lot of people really liked him and thought he got a bum rap. So I think he does already have people who are willing to support him.
Well, he's gathering his supporters to him, and I think he is going to make a comeback. He won't take a backward step again. He won't hide himself. He will say exactly what he needs to say.
Right.
Because it's all about the spoken communication with him.
Right. Right.
So watch this space, because I think he'll make a comeback in some way.
I'll be glad to see it.
All right. So I'm going to Canada with you now. And we've seen Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, he's evolved from a very young politician through to, he's had his share of dramas and controversies and poor decisions and good decisions and popularity, and then, people leaving his camp, but he's stayed the course. What's next for Trudeau?
I'm going to use the Illuminati deck. Oops. Well, the first thing to pop out was the high priestess. So that was hidden things. Things are still hidden. We don't know the whole story, obviously, because we're asking the question, right? He's awful cute, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What do they call that? Eye candy.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had eye candy in a long time here in America. I guess Barack was kind of eye candy. He's a handsome guy. Hey, Bush was handsome too. The younger Bush, he was kind of handsome. Yeah. He was just not a great president. Oh my God. All right, let's see. What's up for Justin? We have the Hermit and the immediate future. He's been, I think because of COVID, hasn't he been sort of like, you know, everything has been virtual and he's done a lot of that stuff. This is also a card of wisdom, wisdom born of experience. So I think you're right. He's been through a lot of changes. I think he's learning from it.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge. It's the Prince of Cups. I think overcoming his, the challenge for him is to overcome the idea that he's like a pretty boy, like quite frankly, and but somebody who's like got their too much pie in the sky, right? He's too idealistic. He thinks that, you know, everything's great and bunnies and unicorns. I feel, and I'm not saying that that's really true, but I'm saying there's a perception about that with him, and of course his youth, So it's a challenge to a certain extent. We have the Six of Wands at the root, so this is the victory card. But I always see this card as victory, but victory at what cost, right? So he's had to sort of compromise maybe some of his idealism. Maybe that was really something that he had to do in order to remain victorious in his state. So he's sort of standing in his victory, which is good. In the past, we have the Two of Wands. This is commerce, really kind of looking out into the larger world, seeing how he could interact with other countries. In the sky, we have the Five of Cups, but it's reversed.
So he's overcome.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think I don't know what I probably should. It's so hard to keep track of even what's going on in my life. Is Canada have a lot of COVID deaths?
I think the general feeling is that he's done really well to manage COVID. Yeah.
So so that's good. That's the Five of Cups upside down, and I don't generally have upside down cards in my deck, so it's interesting that it's there. We get the Tower coming up, so there's a challenge and an awakening perhaps coming for him. Let's see what else is happening. The Ace of Swords is justice. The domestic situation, the Ace of Wands. Isn't that interesting? Al Franken had both those cards, right? The Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords, just like this guy, right? So
the Ace of Wands he had, and he had the Page of Swords.
Oh, did he have the Page? No, didn't he have the Ace with the card in it?
That was the Three of Swords.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Hierophant as the hopes and fears.
Right.
So these are all good. I know the Tower, something is going to come up, a challenge. The Tower card, you know, is sometimes a tragedy, but it's being who you really are. It requires you to be your authentic self. So perhaps there's a challenge coming up for him to be his authentic self, sort of take him down a few pegs. But I think he's already been taken down. I don't feel like he's like, you know, like that, you know. The Queen of Cups in the past, in the outcome. Let me see if, and the Star. So so it's interesting because we asked about the EU and there was all that stuff, you know, like things are great, but then there's this thing, but then things are great again. So I think, go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
I was just going to say, I've always felt that Canada's very close up that end there to Russia. And there's something, Trudeau and has got Putin offside around the EU. Maybe there could be just something there. We don't know what Putin's plans are, but Trudeau's very outspoken on the world stage. So, you know, it could be a diplomatic row, for example, of that Tower card. Anyway.
Yeah. Something shocking, something that brings down somebody in power, but I don't feel like it's necessarily him because of all the other cards. All the other cards are so positive that I feel like there's something that gets revealed somehow. Let me just maybe see with these cards, just to kind of see a little bit more elucidation on the Tower, because it's going to happen soon. Whatever it is, it's happening soon because it's in the immediate future. The Tower. Childhood. Abundance.
Okay.
Not so far so good. Fertility. This is for entertainment purposes only. Wonder if he has a child that nobody knows about.
Well, I was going to say it could be a personal situation that we don't know about that might come out.
Right, but I don't think it's going to affect him being the prime minister. That's what these cards look like.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely something coming, so some revelation of some sort.
Well, watch this space.
Yeah, again.
We've had a bit of that.
We didn't really expect things to settle down once 45 was out, did we?
Exactly. No.
Just settle, just still be exciting, but in a different way.
That's it. Without all the trauma.
Okay, so this is kind of an odd question. How can we sort of respect the rising of the divine feminine without I don't know how to ask this question, without too many people who are good getting slammed by it? Like, how do we?
Yeah.
I'm
no,
not.
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay, I just don't know how to ask the question.
Yeah, how do we see justice for women in this Me Too kind of moment without unfairly drawing men who may well be innocent into it? So, you know, there are victims in any movement, aren't there? But we also want to make sure that there are those that need to be brought to justice, so to speak. It's around how do we stay balanced while still empowering the divine feminine. So it's getting that balance right between assertive action without fanaticism, because fanaticism then it destroys when you can't see the woods for the trees. So how do we empower women, the divine feminine, achieve justice and be balanced and fair and not have innocent people being casualties here? Respect. How do we empower the divine feminine without destroying the divine masculine?
Without victimizing the masculine, perhaps.
Without victimizing the divine masculine. Okay, how do Yeah, I think, when you start to put blinkers on, because I'm just seeing somebody with a shield up in front of their face, meaning they can't see, they are blind. And the way not to be blind is to remove that shield. So it is around not, there's that old saying, isn't there? Not cutting off your nose to spite your face.
No.
Keeping an open view. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords. This is a movement. The Page of Swords brings forward the truth. They wield the truth on their journey, on the start of something. And we've got this divinity here in spirit, in that butterfly. So I'm using the Golden Tarot. I was using Tarot Deluxe. But there is this... it's meant to happen. This empowering of the divine feminine is meant to happen. But I also got that card for our Franklin too. So it's around us being able to see the truth. Now, the Eight of Coins is in the challenge position. What is challenging that truth, the quest for truth? The Eight of is skill. The Eight of Pentacles is that earth energy, feet on the ground, bringing forward skill. It's if we need to keep an open mind so that the truth isn't obscured, so we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. So we do need to be careful with the truth. We do need to handle the truth very in a humanitarian way. A respectful and humanitarian way. Okay, so the Nine of Swords, around this, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of women who need to speak their truth, a lot of women that need to be heard still. And this is what will lead us into the Australian astrology reading shortly. In the past, we've had the Knight of Pentacles. Again, this earth energy, this, everything almost being determined by money. So equality is here. The Knight, it's been slow to come for women. Let's see what's in the sky. And there has been deceit and deception and sabotage, where women's rights are concerned in multiple ways, not just in sexual assault or rape allegations, or it's inequality of wage.
Yes.
It's inequality of power. And this is where we are now. It's not going away at all. Women will not be spoken down to. They will not be lied to. And this is a movement that is sanctioned by the timing, sanctioned by our evolution, really. Something that had to happen. Let's see what's in the immediate future. Oh, dear. Women are being killed. That's why it is so so poignant, so timely. This movement has to happen. The truth has to come out. Women are being killed. Now, we do have this spiritual divine timing here. The Two of Cups, we have to, your question, how do we not take victims? We have to do it with men. We have to have this movement that brings along the masculine. We can't do it alone. It has to. Now, in Australia, with our March for Justice, we had many men marching and wanting to bring forward the truth because of their daughters, because of their wives. We have to do it with them. That's how we avoid bringing down the masculine, victimizing the masculine, by bringing the masculine along with us at the community level, at the family level. So as much and all as we've got work to do by marching in the streets, we have work to do in our own homes. And finally, we've got the Hanged Man. We have to get people to look at things in a different light. Right. This is almost being bitten in a very hard way. So there's going to be an aggressive move forward, but we have to bring the masculine along with us. We have to make that offer, and we have them. So this is form that and almost a peace offer while it's a balancing act, really, and that's what I've got at the base of the pack, that we bring forward the truth, but we also extend the hand and bring them along too. It has to be a moderation to be balanced, and that's where the skill comes in.
Yeah.
So if you've got a skilled move, you have an influence there. Divine Feminine is rising across the world, and the movement has to the masculine with us. Okay, that's what I have on that key question.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm having a little...
Hello?
Yeah, there's some communication
a bit of internet issues?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You're back again.
Uh-oh. She'll be back, I think. Now,
okay, so we're going to have to leave it there because we've got internet problems, and Dr. Vicki has family commitments now. We will come back and do Australia's astrology, if not next week, the week after. I'm traveling next week, but we will do it, and yeah, we will look forward to doing it. But thank you for all the time today.
Thank you. This has been a real, as always, it's a real pleasure.
Yeah.
It's nice to go around the world a little bit, you know, like I'm always here, so it's nice to travel.
Well, you know what I like? I like the 3 questions because I never know what you're going to ask me, and you have to rise to the challenge,
right?
Because sometimes it's a bit out of the comfort zone. So I'm enjoying that. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, much love. We love you very much. Take care.